Hello and welcome back to Let's Play Rogue Trader with me, Rykad. Let's loot, look, and leave. An improved armored body glove, a noble sword, a precise last pistol.
Is there money to be made?
So the precise last pistol grants Deadeye Shot. This pistol has an additional single shot and a Deadeye Shot. In Deadeye Shot, a precisely aimed shot with a plus 50% bonus to the effective range of a weapon and a plus 10% hit chance. I guess give that to Cassia. And the Noble Sword. Attacks with this sword cost plus 1 AP. Okay. On a hit, the sword's attack inflicts the disturbed effect on the target for 2 rounds. If the target of the attack is already suffering from the disturbed effect, the attack deals an additional willpower bonus damage to this target. Most warriors prefer swords for they provide more flexibility on the battlefield against close combat enemies. And the plus 10% parry and minus 10 enemy weapon skill when hit. Alright, disturbed. Each stat grants a minus 10 penalty to any willpower or fellowship tests. The 7 to 12 damage. Yeah, we'll give it a shot. Oh, and the improved armored body glove. So armor 25% versus 15%. Dodge chance is the same, but it's an extra 10% average reduced incoming damage. The crippled man's appearance is ghastly, and yet it's evident he was cared for after his mutilation. But not before, obviously. Your eye is drawn to the shards of the enormous lens scattered around the broken device. At first, you're uncertain as to what troubles you, but suddenly the realization hits you. The glass shimmers in a unique way, just the same way as the shards of the unknown broken object you found near Theodora von Valancius' desk. What's the matter, Lord Captain? Why are you so interested in... Abelard trails off when he notices what you're looking at. He instantly makes the connection. By the Imperium Saints, it cannot be. Adira bites her lip. I see it too. Whatever that thing in her study was, it was made from the same material as this junk. What? What? Abelard is at a loss for words. He takes a moment to collect himself, and all at once they start pouring out in a hasty sputter. It's a mistake. Slander meant to blemish the good name of a person who is now dead and cannot even defend herself. First those minions of the arch-enemy murdered Lord Captain Theodora, and now... this cannot be tolerated. It will not be tolerated. Come on now, Abelard. Remember what she was like. Adira's smile betrays her grief, but at the same time, is strangely knowing. Brazen, assertive. It was like her entire life was a race against fate, till fate caught up with her in the end. She would have gone headfirst into a black hole if she had thought it would put her even one step ahead of everyone else out in the expanse. If we could just find out what she was keeping in her desk, and why she went to get it during the attack. Sister Argenta's beautiful face is full of grief. How bitter it is to know that you were born from bad blood. But do not let this knowledge drag you into darkness. The sister's words ring with a genuine, sincere hope that you be blessed with the worthier fate. She does not appear to be shocked by the news of Theodore's possible heresy. I wonder if Sister Argenta killed Theodora. That's why they weren't ready for her to kill them, because she's a sister of battle. They rescued her. They probably thought all was well, but she saw Theodora with one of these things. Or something with a similar material. And also, Sister of Battle would be a match for Mort, the Arch-Militant that was killed. A life must be so easy for you sanctimonious preachers. A dubious trinket, and you no longer see a person, you see bad blood. An annoying hindrance. There is enough venom in Adira's voice to poison an entire regiment. Argenta recoils, but the next moment her dark eyes ignite with fury. How dare you admonish me? We are speaking of abetting the arch-enemy. A person who has tainted themselves thus can never justify their actions. Sure, why go through all the trouble of trying to make sense of anything when you could just label them a heretic and call it a day? Except, dear friend, I seem to remember that you don't mind Theodora so much while you're aboard the ship. You didn't leave her side for even a moment. She rescued you, aided you, and your adoration wilted the moment you heard an accusation sullying her memory. You weren't surprised or upset. You just gave up on her and moved on. Oh, you get pretty aggressive with Adira. Argenta is right. The danger of heresy cannot be overstated. Lord Captain, I'm not excusing heresy. I just don't believe... I don't want to believe Theodora would be involved in it. All the good she did can be so easily crossed out with a single word. Walk away from the device.
Rise to the top.
And that was another hint that Argenta would have been able to kill Theodora and Mort, because they said, or Adira said, that she never left her side. Which means, assumably, she had built some sort of trust with Theodora and Mort. The mutilated man does not stir, bound in his shackles. The plaque near his head reads, Most Holy Prophet and Optimate Adi Shan. There's the fate of the guy whose diary we've been reading this whole time. Your skin crawls as you approach this place. However, there does not appear to be anything of note.
Always keep your eye on the prize.
Right, well, I think we're good to leave this place.
Keep your wits about you.
And the sooner the better, so heresy doesn't take root in ourselves. Or chaos doesn't corrupt us. Because not all heresy is voluntary.
Let us not dawdle.
Your lordship, the rebellion has been crushed. I have news of your lord. She anxiously pitches forward. Is Lord Winterscale alive? Is he all right? We know he'll be safe on our ship. We don't know if the pilot was, well, she wasn't on the prison. There's no reason to assume she'd be part of the riot. Or sided with, Castiglia. He is safe and in one piece. I shall receive him as a guest on my ship, so ready the shuttle. And also we could use him as a bargaining chip, as a hostage. Whenever we meet, not Evane, that's the guy we're rescuing. The other Winterscale, the guy in charge. There is visible relief on the pilot's face. Clicking her heels together, she cheerfully barks out. Consider it done, your lordship. Thank you for the good news.
Is there money to be made?
I can't remember the head guy's name. Doesn't it start with a C? Permission to report, Lord Captain. Permission not granted, but I guess you're going to go ahead and do it. Over the past few days, I received several messages from different decks, complaining about anomalous behaviors in the ship's cogitators and servitors. The machine spirits are restless and rebellious, and no tech litany or ritual of pacification can rid them of this obstinacy. The tech priests can deal with the vessel systems, but the servitors, they make errors in their tasks, disobey orders, change the assigned rituals, or sometimes downright freeze as if in a trance. A click comes through the Vox channel, followed by a wary sigh. Lord Captain, occurrences such as these are caused by errors in cogitator calculations or have some other sensible explanation. I beseech you not to take after those who whisper about the ship being cursed or possessed. Adira joins the channel and chimes in playfully. Oh, don't start, old man. All these peculiar happenings have long since turned into local legends. A door slams shut, the lumen starts flickering. Folk have grown used to all that, so our resident ghost has decided to take up the ante. I'm telling you. Sorry, decided to up the ante, not take it up. I'm telling you, things are only going to get worse from here. The Technomats inspected the servitors and concluded they pose no danger. According to the servants of the Omnissiah, such behavior is caused either by the echoes of minds not completely eliminated or by manifestations of the machine spirit's will. Nevertheless, the faulty servitors make the crew's task considerably more difficult, and High Factotum Janus Stanrock would like to discuss how he should deal with the defective property. He's awaiting your audience on the bridge. Well, first things first, let's go to the Thunder Fang. I believe we have more cargo to trade. Alright, we get a Force Grenade. 4 Force Grenades. I don't know if anyone in my party has a War World origin, but a Fencing Body Glove. Go and grab these first. Power Maul. And an Auto Gun. So the Fencing Body Glove has 25% armor. You dodge an average of 39% of enemy attacks this chapter and reduce incoming damage by an average of 20%. And then base armor property, plus 10% dodge against melee attacks, and plus 10% parry. Alright, so this is a little better than the Carapace chestplate on average. An extra 5% damage reduced, but the dodge chance is the same. I do want to try out the Power Maul, but I think our current weapon is better. But maces and hammers have a special attack that pushes enemies away, which is the Power Swing, or the Shove. What's the Power Swing do? Oh, it's like a cleave. That's what I thought this was an arrow, and it's showing you pushing an enemy this way. What, does he have a War World origin? Death World. Oh no, that's my main character. Forsaken World, Imperial World, and I guess Unknown. Well, let him put it on, so be it. So it says points of interest detected. Oh, just the planet Okay, I was misreading that. So I wonder if we can talk to Yvain. He's somewhere on the deck. Oh, I'm thinking about it. Let's change up my formation. I wasn't gonna worry too much about it. Oh, I'll have to wait till everybody's in my party. Since you can position at the beginning of combat, unless you're ambushed, as we learned on the prison planetoid. Oh, I haven't really shown it off yet. Here's some Servitors built into the machines. Alright, let's talk to High Factotum Janris Danrock. The High Factotum Janris Danrock greets you with a cool smile and the merest hint of a bow. Pleasure to see you, Lord Captain. How may I be of assistance? Have you ever heard the name Fiery Reckoning? From what I can tell, it is a void ship of some sort. Janris thinks for a moment, pursing his lips in concentration. I'm afraid it is not immediately familiar to me, your lordship. Please allow me a moment. He starts rapidly tapping on the screen of his data slate. I say. House Von Valancius did indeed sign a contract with the owners of a vessel with the designation Fiery Reckoning. Their transactions records of the ship picking up cargo from Kiapa Gamma. Well, this is odd. The data log ends there. Apparently, the ship had some interactions with one of the workshops on your industrial world. I beg your pardon, your lordship, but that is the extent of the assistance I can provide you in regard to this particular matter. Oh. I would like to replace the painting of the late Theodora in my chambers. I'll hang my portrait instead. Generous bows obsequiously. It will be done, your lordship. Falling apart. Having trouble reading today. I am a little under the weather, so there's gonna be some stumbling. I would like to order the shipping and transportation of some goods. I don't know why the axe is worth so much. Oh, it's a two-handed axe, that's why. Pretty good stuff here. Victus informed me about a problem with the Servitors. What happened? You see, your lordship, the ship's Servitors have been malfunctioning of late. They violate protocols, interrupt their tasks, observe crew members for long periods of time, and move erratically with no meaning or purpose. Janris Danrock nervously pulls on his luxurious frock coat, as if it were uncomfortably tight. Had it been a routine technical fault, I would have decided the fate of these Servitors myself, but I deemed it necessary to notify you. I do not wish to hide such irregularities from the Lord Captain. If you wish to observe the Servitors' unusual behavior before you decide their fate, this can be arranged. The majority of defective units have been delivered to one of the storage compartments, pending your decision. I wish to take a look at these Servitors before deciding their fate. As you wish, your lordship. A book event. Sector data unavailable, region data unavailable, Location, Von Valancia's flagship, lower decks. Material, report of a tech phenomenon that was observed during the Lord Captain's visit to Bay AKN-108. From the words of High Factotum Janris Danrock. When his lordship arrived at the scene, he found the servitors in the same position that they assumed after they had been corralled into the bay, all standing in a long spiraling line and facing the center of their strange formation. The moment his lordship crossed the threshold of the bay gate, their bodies jerked into motion, all as one, as if obeying a command. The servitors turned to face the Lord Captain. The technomats tasked with overseeing the defective units even reached for their weapons, but then the servitors went still just as abruptly, staring at his lordship with vacant eyes. All present held their breath, disturbed by this sight. We waited for the Lord Captain to speak. His lordship, Donald von Valancius, demanded a report on the defective unit status from the technomats. The technomats' long-winded and detailed report could have been summarized in a single key point. Despite the servitors' abnormal behavior, they were still quite capable of carrying out tasks, and therefore the circumstances did not call for their termination. I've already read that. His lordship Donald von Valancius ordered that one of the servitors be disassembled and its components investigated. A group of technomats hurried to act upon the Lord Captain's command. The servitor's mechanical parts separated with clicks, snaps, and hisses. The sutures between its wrinkled, pale flesh and its augments were laid disgustingly bare. We watched the technomats do their work and could see every centimeter of the servitor's stiff muscles abounding with valves and cavities, pierced by countless cords and tubes. The disassembly and analysis complete, the technomats had concurred. The unit was in working order. Nothing in the dissected body that lay before us could provide any insight into the reason behind the defects. I should make note of one more thing. At that moment, all of us present discovered that not just the eyes, but the hands and heads of some of the servitors were now shaking too. It was as if the mechanized servants were overcome with some primordial terror. His lordship Donald von Valancius took several steps toward the servitors. Immediately, the servitors, each and every one of them, stepped toward the Lord Captain in perfect unison. They mimicked his movements with frightening precision. The rogue trader halted in place and, after a moment's thought, waved his hand, and the servitors, just as synchronously, repeated the gesture as well. When the Lord Captain turned quizzically to the technomats, so did the servitors, as if mocking him. Whatever the Lord Captain did, be it an incline of the head, a wave of the hand, or a step to the side, the defective units repeated it without a moment's delay or hesitation, like grotesque marionettes controlled by an unseen puppeteer. We observed this mime unfold in distressed bafflement for nearly a minute, until the servitors finally came to a stop. Not sensing any threat from them, the rogue trader approached them with confidence. The Lord Captain examined the servitors. As High Factotum, it was I who had prompted that entire inspection, and thus it was my duty to follow the Lord Captain. As we stepped closer, we noticed a fascinating irregularity. The servitors' pupils, normally still, were shaking wildly. Their bulging veins were pulsating under their copper collars inscribed to their past offenses. It was as if those mindless half-machines were locked in a perpetual state of extreme tension. A visibly shaken technomat behind us proposed that the human souls had awakened within the servitors' bodies, after a long slumber deep within their lobotomized brains. Formerly bereft of intelligence, they had attained awareness, feeling, and understanding. After a pause, Technomat added that the servitors used to function properly, and that no one had been able to explain the change in their behavior. His gaze still trained on the motionless but animate half-machines and half-people. The Lord Captain... Where did I get the iridescent blade from? Oh, the one that, Conrad dropped, right? I think it's a broken one. Stepped away from the servitors. Alright, his lordship Donald von Valancius turned to me to announce his decision. His lordship looked at me with unwavering resolve. and it was that confidence that wrenched me out of the nightmarish stupor that had me tensely observing the scene unfolding before me. The Lord Captain gave the order. I think option 2 and 3 could be considered dogmatic. Honestly, I'm leaning more towards destroying them because we don't know what's causing this. I wonder if we had recruited an engine seer, if we'd have more options here. I'm going to go with the dogmatic route, even though I am leaning more towards option 3. But as far as we can tell, they're not corrupted in any way that at least we can tell. And as a commissar, my character would believe in discipline and paying your dues, so... the Lord Captain gave the order to send the Servitors back to toil as they had toiled before, but they had not yet paid their dues for the crimes of their past lives, and thus did not deserve clemency. Also, we haven't replenished our crew yet by going to the main planet, so we can't really afford to hinder our workforce. On the Lord Captain's orders, the Servitors were returned to the same decks where they had worked before. The crew was initially unnerved by their presence, but adapted to their quirks soon enough, especially since, following the incident in question, there was a noticeable reduction in the Servitors' strange behavior. With the fate of the defective Servitors decided, nothing could now distract the Lord Captain from his mission. Alright, to Rykad Minoris. As the ship makes its way through the star system, a strange fatigue follows over you. Your eyelids grow heavy, and the quill you've been using to drop yet another order falls from your hand. You raise your head with a start. Someone else is here in your study. You stand up and stare at the dozens upon dozens of corpses surrounding you. Among their number, you recognize the disfigured and bloodied faces of those who died on the ship's bridge, and those you met in your previous life. How is this possible? Where are the enforcers posted to stand guard? It does not matter. You're alone against a horde of heretics risen from the darkness to take your life. As if of its own accord, the shard lying on the edge of the desk, the sole remnant of Conrad Voigtvir's weapon, slips into your hand. The metal was searing cold. The dead sway from side to side, closing in around you in a nightmarishly slow advance. Step back or else. The dead only draw closer and closer, and your fingers involuntarily tighten around the shard, its sharp edge cutting into your palm. An unbearably bright light floods everything around, and you find yourself surrounded by groveling minions, their bodies shivering in your mere presence. Your hands no longer hold a pitiful shard, but a majestic and intricate weapon, a skillfully crafted sword with strange, unnerving proportions, a curved design, and an unusual hilt adorned with the image of a closed eye. The eye opens wide, revealing a gaze so ancient and dark that it steals your breath away. You have felt this gaze before, there on the bridge, and the voice that appears in your mind only confirms your guess. The tapestry is woven, the path is chosen. Accept your fate, champion. Yeah, option 2 never goes well for whoever thinks they can master chaos. Throw the demon blade away. Never. Your body refuses to obey your mind. The handle feels as if it has become one with your hands, and the gaze of the demonic eye sets your very soul ablaze. Resisting your fate is futile. You scream as you feel your soul burn away to ash. You awaken from the vision kneeling next to your desk, clothes drenched in sweat and with a sour taste on your tongue. Your head is ringing, and you struggle to recall those faces and the image of the sword in your hands. Only the deep cut on your palm and the bloodied shard lying on the floor remind you of what just transpired. You'd rather die than touch that thing again, so you reach a shaking hand for your Vox and call for a Servitor. Now you just have to wait for the mindless automaton to arrive, pick up the cursed artifact, and head for the nearest airlock to be claimed by the Void. There I am. Alright. Well, I'm going to call it here, and next time we will head towards Rykad Minoris. I think we have to scan the system first. And we have a handful of quests to do there. But for now, thanks for watching. See you guys in the next one.